and welcome to Enter the Glory Zone with me, Dr. Edith Davis, on 94.1 FM, Wave 94. Well, everyone, I have a very, very special treat for you today. I had the privilege and the honor of meeting Mr. Ernie, is it Andrus?
Yeah, Andrus.
Andrus. Ernie Andrus, who is a World War II vet who ran when he was 93 years old. Is that correct?
I finished one day after my 93rd birthday.
One day on his 93rd birthday, he ran from coast to coast. That means from the East Coast to the West Coast.
Or from the other way.
The other way, from the West Coast to the East Coast of the United States of America. And now he is 95 years old, and he's doing it again. And he happens to be in the Tallahassee area. And so I think that this is an awesome thing that he's doing. He broke the world record of the oldest person to run coast to coast. He is doing it again. And he's doing this for World War II veterans. He was a part of D-Day and...
I wasn't at D-Day.
He wasn't at D-Day.
I was at D-Day on Saipan while they were having D-Day on Normandy.
Oh, good. Oh, thank you, Lord. He went at Normandy. Everybody knows that was horrific experience, and very few survivors from that actually hit that beach that day. So, but I'm going to let him tell his story because he knows his story better than I do, as you can see. And then we're going to have some questions. So if you could open up and tell the audience a little bit about yourself, a little bit about what inspired you to do this awesome thing, and why you're inspired to do it again.
Well, my name is Ernie Andrus. I like to run, and in my hometown at the time was Prescott, Arizona, and there was a fella ran through Prescott, stayed overnight with a friend of mine, and said he was running. He was from Great Britain. He was running across every country, and that just sounded like something fun to do. I was retired, and I thought, gee, I think I'll do that. And when I did my first 200-mile Ragnar relay, I was 88 years old. I got so much attention, people wanting autographs and pictures, that I thought, if an 88-year-old man gets this much attention, what about a 90-year-old running coast to coast? So I thought, I'm going to do it. And I had about 2 years to prepare, so I sat down and started making my preparations. And so I could start when I was 90. And so I did. I just went down and I started on October the 7th of 2013. I picked that date, so I was hoping I could get across the desert before it got too hot. And I just kept running and figuring out all my runs. I thought, well, if I can raise some money, maybe can I get our ship back to Normandy for a D-Day memorial? Because we found this ship over on the Isle of Crete. Some of my shipmates some of them went over to check it out because we see if we could get it. The Greek government or the admiral over there, he said he says, we're just scrapping them now. He says, and you guys gave them to us, we'll give it back to you. Just get your permission from the United States. So we spent 3 years fighting our own government. When we finally got permission, we went over and got the ship. Spent about 4 months putting it all back together and making it seaworthy. And then we brought it across the Atlantic right into Mobile, Alabama. They didn't want to let us go. They did everything to stop us, even though we had an act of Congress and Clinton had signed it. And the State Department was afraid we'd all die out there and tried to stop us. So we just sailed as a pirate ship. And we didn't know who's going to let us in here in the United States, but we got a hold of somebody in Mobile, Alabama. And he said, "You old guys are welcome." So we went into Mobile.
Awesome.
When we left Greece, we were called crazy old men. When we got into Mobile, we were heroes. You can see this on the History Channel documentary. It's on the YouTube. It's called Return of LST 325. So when I decided to do this run, I was going to do the run for the fun of it, for the adventure. And then when I saw all the attention I was getting, I thought maybe I could raise enough money to take this ship back to Normandy. That's just a dream, hoping to get it back over to Normandy for a memorial service. I've raised a few thousand, but it's not anywhere near enough to get the ship over there, so I'm still trying. Okay. The first run across, I raised about 30,000, sent it all to the ship, and they just spent it, put it in dry dock, and keeping it seaworthy. So I don't have much hope of raising that much money, but I'm still trying, and I'm having fun doing it.
Okay. Well, guess what? Get your hopes up, right?
Right.
Because if you get your hopes up, you get what you hope for.
Yeah, well, everybody keeps telling me, do you think you can do this? I've been told that about a lot of things, and I always say, well, I don't know if I can or not, but the Lord can, and if he wants me to, I will.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So you're now doing it from the East Coast to the West Coast this time.
That is correct. I don't have to plan my route because I've got it already planned and recorded. I'm just doing it in reverse. I'm on memory lane, meeting all these thousands of friends I made across the other trip and making new ones this time.
Now, so you are going to run back to the West Coast, and what's going to happen when you get there? You're going to go to is it an island or?
No, I'm just going to run into Mission Beach, San Diego. That's where I started my other run when I went the other direction.
Okay.
And to see how much money we raised, a lawyer told me that it wasn't advisable to try to get a nonprofit for myself. So I could hold the money because the ship is nonprofit, Ship Memorial.
Gotcha.
And they said they couldn't hold the money if as I sent it in, they're going to spend it to keep the ship seaworthy.
Okay.
And I'm just hoping somebody will come up with enough money to help us and fulfill the dream.
So at the end of this, you will tell people if they are interested in fulfilling this dream of getting this ship back to Normandy for the D-Day Memorial service for the ship. You're going to give directions on how they can send money.
Right now, I have a website called coast2coastruns.com. And if you go on there, it shows you where you can either donate to the ship or you can sponsor me for my run. Okay. I also may have some shirts and some books. I wrote an autobiography. They're all available on the website.
Well, you don't look like you're 95 years old, and you definitely don't act like you're 95 years old. No. What's going on with this? I've just had a broadcast with my eldest uncle who just turned 95. And he didn't have a single wrinkle in his face, healthy, wealthy, and wise. Man, that's a nice thing.
Well, I don't think I'm too healthy, and I'm not wealthy. I don't know, and I don't know about the being wise.
So, as you run across the country, I know that you're getting some inspirational thoughts or something that you want to share with our audience, because this is such an awesome thing you're doing. And I know that this was a divine meeting, you and I wanted to know if you had any words of wisdom, any insights, understanding, knowledge, anything that you want to share with our listening audience today.
Well, the one thing that thrills me is the thousands of people that I've had come on Facebook and tell me that they have been inspired to get out and start getting some exercise. Wow. Because I tell people that no matter how old you are, as long as you can still move, do something. You know, if you like to walk, run, swim, bicycle, whatever you like to do it.
Well, you definitely inspire me, because as I was talking with you and thinking about what you're doing, I was saying, Lord, look at this man. He's running across the country, and I want to just get to the car from Walmart.
Well, my walking is not too easy. I can't walk very far without grabbing and holding onto something. But once I get my running pace, which is equal to a slow walk, but it is my running pace, then I can just seem to keep going. That's probably because that's what I've done all my life.
And they're probably keeping you going too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about you and your life and this journey that you've had. And
well, I was born in Kansas. My book tells about it. If you want to pick up my autobiography, it's called "Bare Feet to Running Shoes."
Okay, and how much is your book?
Well, they're selling it on the website for $20. I have them with me, and the people that make donations to me, I give them a book if they want it.
Okay,
autograph it for them.
Okay,
same thing with shirts.
I definitely want one before you leave. But go on.
Well, when I was 14 years old, I had an older brother that had cancer, and when he died, he said to my mother, "You nothing to stop you from going to California now." So he was just 15 years old, just after his 15th birthday when he passed. So we just headed for California, and boy, I liked it so well getting away from that cold that I never left California until I retired. When I retired in Prescott, Arizona, and kept both homes, so that I was on a perpetual vacation back and forth. Was very good because I've outlived 3 wives, and for the second wife, this was really good for her because we were able to do all this together.
Wow. Thinking about getting married again?
Yeah, and I was in Los Angeles, cruising the streets of Los Angeles in my little Model A Roadster. One Sunday, and with a buddy of mine, we were just trying to pick up chicks, and the radio came on and said Pearl Harbor had just been bombed. And so I looked at my buddy, and I said, "Where is Pearl Harbor?" He said, "I don't know, but I think we're at war. Let's go join the Navy."
Oh, wow.
So that's exactly what we did.
Oh, my gosh. And so your whole life you were a career person in the military, I'm assuming.
No, I signed up for the duration of 6 months, and that's just what I served. 6 months after the war was over, I got discharged.
Okay.
They offered you $50 to ship over, but a lot of guys thought we shipped over to get the $50, but I thought, well, to sign up for another 4 years, I wasn't so sure I wanted that. I loved the Navy, but I was tired of that authority over me, and I was tired of war.
Yeah, war is not a pretty thing.
No.
So what did you do for a living once you...
Well, when I got out of the service, the first thing I did was sign up with UCLA on the that was for GI on the GI Bill. And then I started raising a family. So I dropped out of college, and I went to thrifty drugstores there in Los Angeles, and on the job training program sponsored by the government. Okay. And because they were the fastest building drug chain in the world at that time, and they had this deal with the government to train managers. Okay. So I trained as a manager until I decided they were never going to be able to build that many stores. So I took over the pricing department for a while, for a few years with the thrifty drugstores, and until one of my competitors offered me something better, and I stayed and managed his drugstores until I finally decided grocery paid better. So I went to grocery store management, and that's how I retired.
Okay, what grocery store did you work with?
I started out with Boys Markets, and I think they're out of business now. And I went a couple others, and I wound up with Thrifty Mart. Okay. Thrifty Mart, no relation to thrifty drugstores, but they had a nice little chain. But when the old man died, the kids, they run it in the ground. So when it was going broke, Safeway Markets bought them out. I didn't want to work for Safeway because they were, what they're all doing now, they were cutting back, only putting everybody on part-time and trying to cut back on the benefits. And I just decided to retire instead. Okay. So I retired, took an early retirement. When the year I retired, the Olympics came to Los Angeles, and so I thought, this is going to be fun. I'm going to go see what I can do. So I ran the Olympic torchbearer run in Huntington Beach, California, and it was a 10K, just raising money to sponsor the torchbearers.
Okay.
And that was so much fun. I just started running everything that came along because I was retired then and I could do it.
Mm-hmm. Did you have any children?
I've outlived 3 wives. So I had 3 children with my first wife. Then my second wife had 3 girls, the same age as my 3 girls. So we had the 6 girls. And then late in life, we had another little girl. So that gives us 7. Then along come a boy.
Wow, finally that Y chromosome kicked in, huh?
My wife had talked me into slowing down, and I should have never done it because when that boy come along and there was so much energy there, I had to get back to running just to keep up with that kid.
Oh, my goodness. So where are your children now?
They're everywhere.
Okay.
I had, and my third wife had a few children, so I didn't adopt any. They became my stepchildren, but they were all grandparents by then.
Well, yeah.
They still call me Dad.
That's awesome. This is such a wonderful life. What do you think the secret to your longevity, the fullness of your life, 3 wonderful marriages, it sounds like.
Well, the first one wasn't that good. I finally had to divorce her. But,
okay.
But the second one was made in heaven. And that third one was the best marriage, best wife I ever had because we were both retired and we could do everything together. So I said the 80s were the best years of my life.
Wow.
The 90s are turning out, I think, even better. Except I do miss her.
Oh, okay.
She passed away. I was just 1.5 months into my run across the country the first time when she had a stroke, and I went and held her hand for about a week till she quit breathing. Okay.
All right. So, any more tips, words of wisdom, exercise? I hear that. Anything
that
else?
Exercise is the main thing I tell people, and I main to support the ship. Main thing I want people to understand, especially the younger generations, that freedom is not free.
No, it's not.
And that's why I think it's important to keep that ship. It's the only one left out of 1,051 that were built in World War II.
Wow.
It's the only one left that is operational and is fully restored. And we just want to let people know what it took to win the war. Young people got to realize that it isn't going to stop. Wars are going to continue right up through the final days.
When you were saying freedom is not free, it made me think of course, Christ Jesus, and it made me think about salvation and how, God gave his only begotten son, and it's a free gift. I mean, it's free, but it came at a very high price. It took all the blood of his one and only begotten son, Christ Jesus. Well, we have your caregiver here, and I know I'm not gonna put him on the spot, but I just want you to say hello. Is that okay?
That's fine. Hello.
And tell him your name. I'm sorry.
That's quite all right. My name's John Martin.
Now, the first time you ran across the country, from my understanding, you did this solo, right?
Yeah, I did everything on my own.
Wow.
A lot of people joined in with me along the way, and I had a lot of support. The American people are the most loving and generous people in the world.
Wow, man. But then this gentleman came into your life, and so he's been kind of making things a little bit easier for you, I guess.
Yeah, when he found out about me, he was in California and I was in Louisiana, so he flew down and did a run with me. Oh. And then he was at the finish when I finished, and that was a big event. He arranged a lot of it. He contacted people, and about 2,000 people showed up there on that little island. That's St. Simon Island, Georgia. They some politician who was giving me a ride around and showing me the sights told me that I drew the biggest crowd ever drawn on that island. He says, the president and the rock stars never drew that big of a crowd.
Wow. That's a testimony.
Yeah. But I love the South. The Southern people are, most of the Southern people I met love the Lord. And that's a blessing to me to meet all these people. And Southerners are the most patriotic in the United States, I think.
Wow, that's awesome.
You see a lot more flags flying in the South than you see anywhere else.
Well, that's nice to know because I wouldn't know that. I haven't run across the United States of America. I used to, believe it or not, when I was younger, I actually did cross-country running. And I used to run on the beach for training. Now I can barely walk across the beach, so I'm going to have restoration. But beach, of course, beach running is the toughest because you don't have that.
Yeah, I tried it in Jamaica, and I gave it up after about the first 2 miles.
Yeah, the beach is tough. And I didn't realize how strenuous it was until I tried to do it later in life. But I guess as a teenager in high school, you never really noticed.
Well, when I first went to California from Kansas and got out there on the desert, I just felt like a run. And whenever I got on the desert, I still do. I just feel like running when I get out there. It's a dry heat, I guess. It makes you feel good. And I ran in the sand. Now I avoid the sand.
Yeah.
Get on the pavement.
Yeah, it's a muscle. Those muscles have to really pull hard when you're on the sand.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about your relationship with Jesus Christ.
Well, I always more or less believed when my older brother accepted Christ, I said, no, I'm not ready yet. I said, I liked the way I was living. I didn't want to have to feel like I had to change my ways because I was pretty young. You know, I was 10 years old at the time. And I was glad that he accepted the Lord because he only lived to be 15 when he died from cancer.
Was it leukemia?
No, he had sarcoma on his elbow, a tumor, and then they tried everything. In those days, it was incurable. They amputated his arm, didn't help. So what was I getting at there when you asked me?
You were telling me about your relationship with Jesus Christ and how at 10 years old you didn't want to change your ways.
Well, when I I was going into Saipan, and we were set up all night going into the beach there and talking. There was 4 of us talking. One of them was an atheist from Chicago. One of them claimed to be a Christian, and the other one was studying to be a priest. And so we had quite a discussion. And the guy that seemed to make the more sense he didn't make the most sense because he didn't believe in God. And I said, how could you not believe in God? But he seemed to be the most intelligent. And so I became more or less an agnostic. I sort of blamed God for what was happening out there, you know. And when I was in my late 30s and between marriages, I met my second wife, and she was a Christian. And she got me going to the Church of the Open Door with J. Vernon McGee.
Oh, J. Vernon McGee.
I know J. Vernon McGee.
I still listen to his broadcast.
Oh, yeah. You know, I saw him the last time I saw him was just before he died. I accepted Christ in his office there in downtown Los Angeles. And he just started his radio ministry through the Bible in 5 years. I went through it with him in the Church of the Open Door on Thursday nights. And he was so convincing that on my 39th birthday, I accepted Christ in his office. And told my wife, I said, the Lord knows I got a poor memory. This way, I'm born again on my birthday. I'll never forget.
And this is the marriage that you said was a marriage made in heaven, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. This was a made in heaven.
So she made sure you got to heaven, huh?
In fact, we even went over and got baptized in the Jordan River.
Wow.
Of course, we've been baptized already, but we did it again.
Oh, wow. What a place to go.
The first time I went took her to Israel. we went with the pastor, he was a Baptist, and his name was John.
Oh, my goodness.
And so he was baptizing in the Jordan River.
Oh, my goodness. So you got baptized?
No, I didn't that time. We waited. She said, didn't want to get her hair wet. So I said, next time we go, we'll do it. So next time we did.
So you didn't get baptized by John the Baptist?
No, I got baptized by David the Baptist. David.
Oh,
But
that's awesome.
There was a couple there from Germany that heard what we were doing and heard his name was John the Baptist, and they thought it was an omen. They had to get down and get baptized.
Oh, yeah. I think if I was there, I would have had John the Baptist baptize me, too. So you came to Christ through the influence of your wife, the heavenly.
Definitely, she was always witnessing to me, and I didn't believe her. And I told her I was going to prove she was wrong. And so I said, I'll go through that 5 years and see. I said, I picked one verse, seek and you will find. And it says, I was definitely seek because I hope you're right, but I don't believe you are. And I says, if I find, then I decide you're right. If I don't find, then you're wrong. It's just a book, you know. Well, I listened to J. Vernon McGee. He's pretty convincing.
He's pretty powerful.
Now, he was a wonderful teacher.
Yes.
He always said he wasn't a teacher. He says, I'm just a Texas preacher.
He is so, he's very similar to Andrew Womack, who I listen to today a lot also. Well,
when I talked to him, you know, when he first started taping all his sermons,
okay,
he said, I'm going to, when I die, he says, I'm going to have it all on tape through the Bible in 5 years. So when I die, it's going to continue till it reaches every person, you know.
Yes, I mean, I haven't heard his broadcast lately, but I listened to his broadcast for many, many years. When I was driving back and forth from work, he would be one of my daily staples, along with Woodrow Kroll and Chuck Swindoll and Tony Evans and some others. Joyce Myers, John McCarthy.
Oh, I knew his dad well.
And
Jack McCarthy.
You knew Jack McCarthy?
Oh, yeah.
So tell me about Jack McCarthy since we're talking.
Well, I just went to his church a couple of times because it was convenient, and I got to know him. In fact, I was going to have him marry me to my second wife, and somebody in his congregation talked him out of it, told him, well, I was divorced and he shouldn't do that.
Oh.
He says if a divorced man, he should go back to his wife, or at least you shouldn't be marrying him to someone else. So he didn't marry us. But I was married by, what's his, right now his name's slipped my mind. I should remember because he was my pastor when I was a kid.
Wow.
And then he was in another church when I met my second wife, and he married us. By that time, he was running a school for the Christian church there in San Pedro, Los Angeles. That later he was doing that, but he had a church there at the time.
You have a phenomenal memory. I'm just
my memory's not that good, and the short-term memory is terrible. When I wrote my book, I didn't have time to sit around for 2 years writing. I just took it off the top of my head and what I could remember. But people seem to think I did a good job on it.
Well, I'll see when I get one, right?
Yeah. Well, see, when I would people would ask me if I would give presentations at schools, the middle schools, and I taught Sunday school to the fifth graders, and I love that age because they're making decisions going to last the rest of their life. You know, right at that age where they ask good questions. So I did a lot of those as I run across the country, and I just love talking to those kids. Man, they got up with the questions.
Yeah, fifth graders are I target that group too, the middle schoolers on the verge of going into middle school. That's I target them for. I'm a scientist that loves the Lord, and I teach science education. Ernie, I want you to tell our listening audience how they can reach you and support your mission, and if they want to get your book or a T-shirt or donate to the ship or donate to sponsor you to run across the nation. Can you give the audience that information, please?
The best way is just come run with me. And I have had some book signing I had here at the Mission Barbecue, and I have books with me. I have shirts. I have souvenir flags, and when people make nice donations for sponsoring me, I give them. I just give them what they want: a book, a shirt, or a flag. And that's the best way. Well, the other way, of course, some of my books are in some of the bookstores. They told me they were there, but I've never received any money from them, so I don't know. I know people have bought them from there, but
You never got
they
any
bought it
money
from Amazon and so forth. I never saw any of the money, so I don't know.
Bless their little hearts.
But the other best way for people to come and run and meet me, just go to coast2coastruns.com. That's COAST, then the number 2, COASTRUNS.com. There you can make donations, you can sponsor me, you can get a shirt, you can get a book. COAST, number 2, COASTRUNS.com.
Okay. Coast to Coast Runs, RUNS.com. And through that website, you can do several things. You can sponsor you can donate to get the ship ready to go to Normandy. You can get a book, you can get a t-shirt. And if you want to join you on your run, you can locate you, I guess.
I post before and after every run on Facebook.
Okay.
So if you go to the best Facebook to go to is Ernest Andrus Facebook.
Let's wrap this up. Just 1 second, okay? And I'm going to, once again, I want to close this broadcast with Romans 10:9. That is, if you confess with your mouth the Lord Jesus and believe in your heart that God has raised him from the dead, you will be saved. I want to say, everyone, thank you once again for joining me this day on 94.1 FM, Wave 94, Enter the Glory Zone with Dr. Edith Davis. And thank you, Ernie, and thank you, John, for spending this time with our listening audience today.
Your glory, God, is what our hearts long for, to be overcome by your presence.